right, welcome back, people, to Counter at Your Own Risk, episode 40. This is going to be part 6, where we talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street, number 6, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry.
1991, directed by Rachel Talalay and written by Michael DeLuca. I believe this has the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score of 23% of the Robert Englund Freddy Krueger movies. So this one is the cartoon version of Nightmare on Elm Street. It starts out like a nightmare at 20,000 feet, very Wizard of Oz, with a direct, Freddy Krueger as the Wicked Witch. And so this movie came out 1991, so it was released on VHS in 92. So I saw this at 10 years old, and I had kind of seen a couple beforehand. But this one really didn't have like a bunch of like I don't think it has any actual like nudity in it. So it was like cooler that I could watch this one without, it like more freely. And so I've seen this one a lot of times. I had Cinemax, so this was on TV all the time. And in some ways it's really cartoonish. In some ways it's pretty dark. It has, a very Twin Peaks feel, and then like I think that, and then they say it in the show. But so if you haven't seen this one, this is the big Freddy's dead. Freddy has a child, and this child is, grown up now. This is also 10 years into the future, which is supposed to be 1999, which I don't know. The math doesn't have.
2002.
Is it supposed to be 2002?
I did the math. It should be 2002 at this point, which doesn't add up to.
Okay,
it
so
doesn't
it
make any sense.
Right.
But yeah.
So anyway, so everyone in the town of Springwood, there's no more children. There is. I don't even think I wrote the guy's name down. But anyways, the main guy.
John Doe.
Yeah, we never really learned his real name.
John Doe.
And the only thing we know is the kid is K.
So he begins to think that he is Freddy's child, and Freddy sends him out of Springwood to, I don't know, like terrorize more kids. I guess that's the idea where you're at in the beginning of it. And it kind of actually feels more of like an Erie, Indiana episode than anything else. It's amped up. Breckin Meyer's in it, who plays the pothead character who, they have pipe bombs at school. Yaphet Kotto is in it, the great Yaphet Kotto. And this one is about a bunch of misfit kids who are at or living at a youth hostel, youth shelter. Yes.
Shelter?
A place for troubled youth. And it turns out that the social worker is the one that, more fittingly, is Freddy Krueger's child, which would kind of switch it up from thinking that this is going to be, another male lead, and it switches it up halfway through, which was the twist in it. The town of Springwood was pretty good.
That's Billy Zane's
Lisa Zane.
sister, by the way.
That makes sense. She was good in this.
Mm-hmm. Dude, this movie is loaded with not only like Breckin and Yaphet, but like it has 4 other celebrities in this. Like, this is the most star-studded one, and yet, well,
Roseanne and Tom. Yeah, Roseanne and Tom Arnold.
Roseanne and Tom. You got Johnny Depp doing your brain on drugs thing, and Alice Cooper, because he finally got to play a role where he wasn't playing Alice Cooper. That's the only reason.
And he's like Freddy Krueger's father, which Yeah, abusive dad.
The father or stepfather?
I think it
was his father.
We didn't get a lot of time with him.
I swear to God, the kid who played young Freddy in that scene, I've seen him in something.
Yeah, I think he has done something else that I've seen. I don't remember what, but he looks super familiar. Like he has kind of one of those faces.
Yeah, he's got one of those like I could be an extra in Children's of the Corn, any of them faces.
But I think this movie is a prime example. Is if you do any series too long, or like with a TV show or anything, James Bond is a good example that they kind of start to spoof themselves at some point, like unintentionally. And this is kind of the example of that, with the bed of spikes, the Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner thing, but when the kid falls from the ground and hits it, and you see the holes, I don't know, it was cool. It really like goes from like very cartoonish to like super dark with the girl and her past, where her dream is her dad, is sexually abusing her, but it like hints at kind of like, it, but it doesn't fully come out and say it.
I mean, you have a town of people still talking to themselves, thinking that kids are there, and a teacher that's busting some rhymes about Freddy in 1492. Just one thing okay, so you mentioned the cartoon thing. So when Breckenmeyer's running around like in the hallway going back and forth and they're doing all these wacky sound effects, are we led to believe that only we can hear them? That only Freddy can hear them in the dream? Or that everybody in the house can hear those sound effects? That's my biggest question that I have. I'm
pretty sure they're doing the sound effects while you're seeing the scene from the other character's point of view. So
yeah, I guess they're probably I can maybe. I mean, because that's the perspective that we have. But yeah,
boing 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 boing.
I mean, there's no good answer to that because none of that should exist. But I felt I need to ask that question.
Like you said, Kevin, this is just one you can tell that went on long enough, especially because there was so little time between each sequel that they were making.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you have like some really cool ideas in here, like you said, showing the holes when he lands on the spikes, and shit, what was his name? Carlos.
With the hearing?
Yeah, Carlos's nightmare where he gets his ear cut off and he can't hear, and they're playing on that, with like Freddy tiptoeing around behind him and shit. That was a cool dream sequence and death. And then you have Breckenmeyer's immediately afterwards, which is like so fucking corny. And Freddy, as he evolved, I think he gained more of a sense of humor. I mean, there was a little bit at the very beginning, but it definitely, expanded until you have things like, Welcome to Primetime, Bitch. But this is the one where, like, the humor went fucking over the top.
The map says we're fucked. And, like, that was, like, so ridiculous. Where it's, like, where it's supposed to be, like, like, oh, shit, I'm in a dream. And he's just, like, the map just doesn't end.
Although, like, I could really see this being, like, Eric's favorite because, you have, like...
Yes.
You forgot the power glove.
Yeah.
And now we're playing with power.
It's definitely
got me Eric's favorite.
I mean, the fact that I saw it at Eric's house was,
Well, it's more Tim Burton than Cronenberg.
That, maybe.
In this one. For better or worse.
Oh, yeah. Can I ask... Like... How often do they have the cops come and dispose of that freaking arsenal? Like, they had, like, you have troubled youths, and you have this arsenal that is better than anything in Assault on Precinct 13.
I mean, I guess those were
utterly crazy.
They come a long way from the cherry bombs and Freddy's Revenge. You know,
Uh, I I want to say that Breckin Meyer was playing the Ninja Gaiden on the Tiger Electronics, and I used to have that game, and it was terrible then. And just watching it, it makes me cringe every time because I used to actually like playing that game, even though it was fucking well. I don't know if you ever played a Tiger Electronics game; they were all bad.
You know what made me cringe?
3/4 of the movie, I'm guessing.
Roseanne and Tom's fucking cameo.
man, have times changed?
Yeah.
To go along with your point, though, Tiger Electronics fucking sucked, Kent. They did, like, you remember when you wanted to get one just to have one, and then you got it, and you were like, this is the fucking hardest shit I've ever fucking played, and it's unfair. And the battery dies after, like, fucking 30 minutes, and I hate it. Why can't I get a fucking Game Boy? This is what I gotta get.
Yeah, because I had a Mega Man 2 and I had Ninja Gaiden, and eventually I was like, Mom, can I just get the Game Boy? And yeah, that was a game changer. It really was. I'll say this. Did either of you see this in the theater?
No. The first time I saw it was at Eric's house. And
Okay.
I know I didn't watch the whole thing.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I mean, that was...
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to see it in the theater. Kevin, I don't know if you remember a guy named Alan Bobbin from Mayfield, but me and Alan, we saw this in the theater, and you get your fucking 3D glasses, and you get to put them on when Maggie or Catherine or Lisa Zane, whatever the fuck you want to call her, when she puts them on, that's when you put them on. And I was so excited. I'd never seen a 3D movie before in my life. And quite frankly, they didn't really do much of anything with the 3D. They did a little bit when she's like, I don't even understand how she shrunk herself to walk through the poster that was hanging on the wall, or maybe she enlarged the poster so she could walk through. Whatever the case may be, she walked through that poster and like the little demon snake things kind of wiggled a little bit. But I will say the coolest thing is right towards the end you have the what the fuck, dream demons or whatever the fuck they were. And in 3D, they are flying around the fucking theater, and all of a sudden one got right in your face and just starts laughing maniacally, and it was actually really an awesome little experience. But otherwise, the 3D was complete and utter trash.
Yeah, it made it super weird when you watch it at home, too, because I didn't realize that, like, when she puts the 3D glasses on, you're supposed to put the 3D glasses on. And like, cause she's just like looking at her hands, and like, I've had 3D, comic books before. So when you have the red and blue things, it's not like, whoa, my hands are in 3D because they're already in 3D. So
I used to have the glasses. I don't think I have them anymore, but there might be a pair in the DVD set that I have. I didn't think to look. I still might have a pair of 3D glasses though. Now that I'm thinking about it, I hope I do.
The ones you got from that movie?
Yeah, like, I mean, because even like on the side, I think it was like on the right, I don't know, the handle of the glasses, whatever. Like it says, put these on when Maggie puts hers on. So it was kind of cool that they give you instructions. They were like just like the paper ones that you could use for comics or sticker books or any other dumb shit that you can think of from back then. I have to admit, like, in the theater, like most movies, the theater experience is usually better than the at-home experience. But I was fucking 10 years old. I didn't know better at the time, so that's my only excuse for liking this movie at that time. Please forgive me.
Okay, I will forgive you in order to have continue have a working relationship with you. Yeah, so what the fuck was the deal with those dream demons? I mean, who looked at those and said, gosh, what can we make that's scarier than Freddy? And then put, like, fucking Smurf skull on the end of a fucking sperm and said, this is what's gonna be the fucking thing.
Weren't the two little dogs with the fucking people faces scarier than the dream demons?
Yes,
oh, yeah.
Yes, fucking right.
Somebody's muted.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Yeah, it was just a terrible idea. Overall, like, you could have done gargoyles, you could have done some cool, crazy shit. Like, this is the horror industry. You got a bunch of people working special effects that have all kinds of crazy ideas. Like, you could have made something cool happen. Instead, you just... This movie felt like the lowest common denominator possible. It really...
Yeah. I mean, it was a big money grab of, like, let's do one more and let's just cram all of this shit in there. Like, you know, from the Ninja Gaiden to...
the Power Glove.
The Power Glove, yeah. All of it. Roseanne and Tom Arnold, because they were pretty big at that time.
Oh, sure. Roseanne was one of the top sitcoms. She was all over. Now, I have a question, Kevin, since you did watch the documentary. Did they ever state, I mean, this has been a working theory, that they saw the success of when Friday the 13th's like, we're going to call part 4 the final chapter, and they made so much money that they had, like, the fans, they were like, oh, we got to give the fans more. Were they secretly hoping by saying that this was the final one, that this would get people to want the franchise to continue on? Like, was that ever talked about in the documentary?
No. Well, I mean, I think the documentary would be like, I don't know. Like, they'd want you to believe that when they made it, that they all believed that, but I believe the director thought that this was going to be the last one, because she was, like, worked on all the other movies in different capacities.
Oh. Well, also, all right, what is so different about the technique used to kill Freddy in this part as opposed to the very first movie? Grab Freddy, bring him into the real world, kill him. Was that not the exact same idea?
I believe it was the exact same idea.
Also, when the fuck did Maggie become, like, Annie Oakley with her aim of, like, throwing knives and ninja stars and shit? Like, what?
What you don't know, Kent, was there was a previous rough draft where it explained that the reason that her father, her stepdad, was dead was because she became Annie Oakley throwing the shit at him, when he was... Yeah.
I was hoping that she trained at Rick's dojo before he died. That was my hope.
That was the name of the place that trained her. Holy shit.
I bet they ate Fu Manchu's cereal, too.
You know it. I mean, you can't have those fucking racist fucking Asian cereals without, learning how to throw throwing stars.
Well, I was going to say, the real answer is, though, if Kristen can do a cart flip in the dream world, then she can certainly, the daughter, the illegitimate child of Freddy Krueger, can throw ninja stars. Is that real life, or was that in the dream world, though?
I thought that was real life.
Yeah.
I can't even keep track.
But Freddy was, like, as hurt as he supposedly was, he really, every time he's in the real world, he can take a shitload of punishment. For a guy that, I mean, how old should Freddy be in real life? Like, in his 40s?
I mean, if he was born in the 40s...
And this is
48, and this is 2002, would be what, 54?
Yeah. I don't know how age works when you're a demon and you die for a bit and then get brought back to life. I don't know if you age a dog years or some shit.
Shit, dude, when you got fucking demon sperm floating around inside you, who the hell knows what's going on?
By the way, how great was the lady on the plane in the opening scene when John Doe's like, I'm afraid of heights, and she just goes, don't be such a pussy.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, actually, that opening scene gave me a little bit of hope that it wasn't going to be that bad, and it kind of always makes me think, I'll give this another shot, and I always regret giving it another shot.
It's tough when you're following it up with 4 and 5. Like, it's just, I think, in the whole like binge watching it or going through the entire series, but I wouldn't mind checking it out like some random out of, time, out of context of all of the series, because it is a pretty batshit movie, you know.
If you watch it on its own accord without having the other ones like recently seen, yeah, it's completely palatable. I have two questions now that I'm looking through my notes. One, which one was it? When John was in his sleepwalking dream, when he wakes up, he like backs into the guard, and the guard is hit by such force that he stumbles and breaks and goes through a window. If you're a security guard,
which I am, yeah.
Okay, so Kevin, I direct this to you. Would you not? No, I mean seriously. Like a guy wakes up from a sleepwalking dream, and that's enough force to push you that hard through a window. I found that to be astounding.
Oh, it was out of place.
Gosh, trying to see what the other one was. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Oh, the other thing, when they had the article about Loretta Kruger being missing. So at some point, Maggie or John Doe finds the newspaper where that clipping came from. If you look at what's written on that newspaper, the whole rest of that page is about Wood, and in the middle of it, for some reason, it just says Kruger found, and then like southwest of it is where the clip would have been. Like nothing makes sense. Like you would never see that in a newspaper like that. Like you wouldn't have a thing about, well, this where you can buy your cheapest lumber. Oh, and by the way, Loretta Kruger body something. Like I don't understand that at all. In a movie that's completely batshit crazy, that stands out to me as one of the weirdest things.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't actually look at the other things. I was trying to see if there was like a date at that, like on the newspaper to like kind of like coincide, like when Freddy killed his wife.
Consider this, Kevin. Per the teacher, he said in 1966 the authorities took away Freddy's kid, and this is 2002, if my math is correct.
Yes.
It's either late 90s or early 2000s. Why does John Doe, after hearing this, still think, just do the math, 1966, and just say 2000 just for easy math, 34. Why does that not, ring a bell to him, oh, that can't be me? It just it really just blew my mind.
Yeah, and she's is actually older too.
Yeah, she obviously fits the age description, no matter how inaccurate the years may be. I mean, she fits the description of early mid-30s, for example.
Well, she wouldn't have been earlier mid-30s though. She would have been closer to 40.
Right.
Because she had to have been at least 4 by the time they took her.
You're right.
So 1966 to 2002 would have put her exactly at 40. I don't think Lisa Zane was 40 in this movie. I think she was probably in her late 20s. So
you're probably right.
How was she fucking Freddy's kid?
Okay, so maybe it was Yaphet.
Yaphet Kotto was his kid.
I love Yaphet Kotto, and I always forget that he's in this damn movie.
He did save some of this movie for me.
Yeah.
5%.
Yeah.
I'll ask another question. So after the trio of kids, they keep going in the circle for a bit, and then they're like, Tracy's like, fuck this, I'm going to find a house to break into and spend the night. All right. I'm guessing you guys weren't really paying too much attention to what that house looked like, but they go into the house, and then the house, all the sides come off, and we see that's the Kruger house. But if you look at the house before it, gets tore down, it looks a lot like the same house in Freddy vs. Jason, where Blake and his father both get, killed by Jason early on, I wondered if they used the same house. Like, the front porch is almost identical.
I mean, if they had the set still on the lot when they were doing Freddy versus Jason, that would make sense. But that would be, I mean, at 12 years, that might have been a while for them. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just found it kind of weird. I was like, wait, that looks just like the house, but I mean, it probably wasn't. It's just one of those weird. Also, why does what the hell? I don't even know what you would describe it. Why did the screen shatter when they left Springwood? Was that reality shattering?
They needed a cool special effect for the 3D stuff. I don't fucking know.
I'm like, what are you trying to tell us is happening by doing this?
Freddy's dead.
I mean,
that's the main title. Everything else is just filler.
If nothing else, would you not say the ending sequence, like the credit sequence, was really good because we got to see all the cool shit? Like, I'll give it that.
Yeah, from
it was the best part of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
The best part. I mean, I remember growing like as a kid because I didn't get to see all of them at that time, so I didn't get to see all the deaths and stuff. So it was cool to see all of that like in one movie, and then from there I would go like seek out. I remember I went and saw the Dream Warriors again, and I was like, because I confused. Cause I was like, I don't remember that kid dying in the Dream Warriors, and then it was part 4, which I saw much less than a lot of them.
Can we also acknowledge that apparently in the real world, Freddy Krueger can still crawl and walk around on the ceiling?
I mean, we can acknowledge it. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, like that happened, and let's also acknowledge that Doc took a wooden baseball bat to a metal door that is locked and beat the shit out of it so much until he could rip it off its hinges. That happened.
Yes, it did happen.
Like, if you had to make a list of the 10 most ridiculous things that happen in this movie, that doesn't even make the top 10 of that list. That's how crazy this movie is. I feel it would be a great movie to watch, like, while, I don't know, drunk off your ass maybe or something, but...
Probably fucking stoned would make it so much better.
Especially like the end of God
with Breckenmeyer inside of the fucking movie.
I don't think
right,
so.
yeah.
I think this movie's stoned. It's not. Yeah.
There you go. I don't know if there's anything that could actually improve it, Kent.
Bro, I mean, the TV did fill up with, 3 human bodies worth of blood, so there is that.
Yeah, it really, like, towed the line of, like, it would just go from, like, something batshit crazy to something, like, super dark.
Could you imagine had the movie stayed that super dark and serious route? How cool, like, this movie could have been like a legit masterpiece, quite frankly, if they wanted to take the canon and lore and go, all the kids are gone and like really delve into the town and like how fucked up all the adults are and go with the serious tones. I think they could have made a really good movie here, but probably, I don't know if it would have been commercially, like, appealing?
I don't know. I feel like, I guess because, like, it was at, like, the decline of quality, 4 and 5, they said.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I mean, I think always that Freddy Krueger would draw an audience, but then again, the next one is 7, and that was not the case, so. But at 91, it was still, so this is, 6 movies in 7 years? Something like that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, overall, it's pretty impressive.
And there were, it was 2 years between 2 and 3?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
And it shows. I mean, that extra year definitely helps with the...
Yeah, it goes 84, 85, 87, 88, 89, and 91, so...
Although the 2 years didn't help
year.
in this one. Yeah, it didn't help.
No. But the extra 3 years between this and the next movie, that helped. All right. Do we have anything else to add to this?
I have just the one thing that I think is like the craziest thing about the whole film is that in 2023, out of Roseanne and Tom Arnold is the likable one. And that's all I got.
That is a deep note to go out on. Freddy's dead with. So we'll be back in a minute to hit up the first one outside of the serialized franchise with Wes Craven's New Nightmare in just a second, guys.